I've been drowning so long, I can't seem to breathe. Lost in my mind, shadows, I can't find relief. Dragged down by the weight of what's in my head. I want to be stronger and rise up instead. Now I've been learning to heal, I've been facing the storm. And the clouds are parted, and the weight is gone, and I believe.
Okay, right, moving on. Dress code. Some people have asked, how do we figure out what to wear? Can we still be ourselves? Can we dress according to our personality? Do we need to have this therapist persona in our dress code? What I would say is it is a professional job, and it all probably lies on a lot of the settings that you work in. So our dress code is really an interesting question. So I think your dress code is something that you become more comfortable with the more comfortable you become in yourself. I think that there is a lot to be said for not dressing to make the client feel uncomfortable. What I mean by that is sometimes clients have a stereotype that they think we are very, the cardigan, says she in a cardigan, but the cardigan, neutral, smart, turned out almost uptight sometimes looking, very clinical. And I think that if that is your style, not uptight, you know what I mean. It's that kind of the professional energy that we're giving off, you can give off in your dress code. We can make the clients feel as if they need to be very formal or put together, or, that they are lesser of us if they don't dress like that, their lives don't look like that. So I would say the more comfortable you become with you, the more you will feel comfortable bringing out parts of your personality. For me, I keep it professional, where, as a female, personally, I don't wear low cut tops, just because I feel that, and this is a personal thing, this is not that you should, it's just for me, I don't want anything of my body to get in the way of therapy, or make the client feel uncomfortable, or, so for me, generally, I don't wear low cut tops, short skirts, and not too much of my arms out. Saying that, I've got tattoos. I show them in the summer, of course. I've got quite an eclectic, vintagey, bohemian dress sense at times, and I bring that through because that's me and that's who I am. I wear a lot of colour, and I think that you've got to find your own way around how you dress, but how we dress does give messages off, and we've just got to be aware of that. And what message are we giving? I think there's certain outfits I do kind of check my diary. I'm not gonna lie, I do. I check my diary and say if I've got certain slogan t-shirts that I know might be a little bit controversial to certain clients, I don't wear that outfit on that day. I kind of look at who's coming in and want to make them feel as comfortable as possible, but without losing my autonomy as to who I am as a person too. Because a lot of that for me is I have a lot of representation around the room of all different diversities, and I feel as if that's a problem for you, we're probably not going to be a good fit as a client therapist, because in my world, everybody is respected and is worthy of a safe place and has equal rights. And I think it's been too long, it has been too long that we've not had equal representation in all different cultures and diversities in life. And so you'll see that all around my room. And if it offends you or it puts you off, then I'm just not the therapist for you. And I'm okay with that. And I don't judge the client for that at all. Maybe that's something that they need to work through themselves. That's okay. When you start your training and your client hours, what really helps with the nerves and therefore builds your confidence is to visualize, who do you want to be as a therapist? How do you want to be seen? This kind of ties into the dress code as well. Who do you want to be? I visualized, I had my own brand name already picked years before I even started training. I knew it was something I was gonna do. I had no clue how. But I planned my entire therapy room, my feel, my everything, whilst in training, and kind of grew into who I am now as a therapist. And that really kind of grounded me when I used to start, well, when I started my client hours. And I tried things out. I can remember going completely eclectic in my dress code and feeling like, I feel a little bit too over the top. So I reined that in a bit, and then I went a different way, and then I went this way, and now I found me, you know. And I think that really helps you to start growing into who you're going to be. And when you were into the client room, you're ready, because you're just being you. Also, it's important to give yourself permission to be new. I think this is something that's so important. It's something that even for me, starting this YouTube channel, I am struggling with at times. I am. Because it puts you into a vulnerable place. Anytime we start something new, we know we go back into that vulnerable child of ours. And I don't know if any of you can relate to this, but when you've been doing something for a few years and you look back and you think, okay, yeah, that was good, but I was still so new. And you can see the newness around you, the fumbling of words, or all these type of things. And I think it's important to just give yourself that space to be new, and sit with the uncomfortableness. I know we hate doing it. I hate doing it. We all hate doing it. But have so much empathy for yourself at the same time, because what you're doing is very brave, and you're going to touch people's lives, and that is such an honor that you will come to see, and such a privilege. And so it's okay. It's okay to be new. It's okay to make mistakes. It's okay, obviously, ethically, try not to make any ethical mistakes, but it's really hard to make ethical mistakes if you're staying in the client's reference. And the biggest thing is that if you do, own it. Own it. Take it back into the session, you know, check it out with the client. So many times, especially my training, but even as a qualified therapist, I bring things back into the session and I say, you know, I was thinking about last week, and I'm just wondering how it felt when I said that. And do you know what's the strangest thing is, the majority of the time they'll say, oh, I didn't even hear you, or oh, it felt fine. But it's that being human again with them, where they know that you care, and also you've taken accountability and you've owned it, you know. Other times they have said, yeah, thank you for bringing that back, that means a lot. And that is huge too, because so often clients that we see, people in general, we've never had repair in our lives. We've had loads of ruptures. We've had criticism. We've never had anybody have the respect and to respect our boundaries enough to repair, to come back and go, hey, I'm just wondering how that made you feel. Because if that hurt you, like, I'm aware that might have been a bit harsh how I said that. Just that repair and that validation can be life-changing for people. So again, you're going to hear me say it again, but just to be real is enough. Supervision, it was the next question. People are sometimes scared of supervision. Sometimes they feel as if your personal counselor is on a real pedestal because they are the guru in the trainee's eyes. And we can feel really inhibited, or kind of like, I don't want them to see me in a bad light. Which they never will, and that's something to talk about with your counselor. But the same can apply in supervision. So in supervision, when we're fresh around the gills and we're not really understanding what supervision really is, it can really feel as if we have to present as if we are the best trainee therapist in the world, and we know all of our theory, and we know the client's process, and that is not the case at all. In fact, if that's how you feel, if that's how you genuinely feel, great, fantastic. But supervision is the absolute cement between your bricks of client work. Supervision is a place where your supervisor is working for you, number one, okay? And they want to guide you and help you, and they are not there. They are not the therapy police. They are not gonna call you out and criticize you. And if they do, and you ever feel judged, take it back to your supervisor. Remember, they're working for you. Talk to them about it. If you get a bad response, find a new supervisor. Don't stay in a relationship that doesn't work for you. It's the same with your counselor. If the counseling relationship is not working, find a new one, because your supervisor is going to become your absolute, how can I even explain? The bedrock. I know I've said it before, but it's the bedrock of your work. They are there for you to be as vulnerable as possible, to try and understand what is going on in your process that's maybe blocking you from a client, or to encourage you, or to validate you that, well done, that sounds like you're spot on the money. Or they are there to keep your work safe. That's what they're there to do. And I can tell you from experience that supervision, the module, was my favorite module. So often I've got my supervisor in my sessions where I'm thinking, okay, yep, take that to supervision. That's got to watch that. Hang on, that goes to supervision. I've got like a filing system: personal counselor, me, supervision, let go. And absolute gold star when it comes to keeping you safe in your client work. So use supervision, take everything. The same with therapy. The less you take, the less they are going to be able to support you. So supervision is something not to be scared of. Supervision, especially one-on-one supervision. I know group supervision can feel a little bit exposing at times, where you feel like in front of your peers you have to present as if you've got it all together. Again, I want to say, drop that expectation of yourself. If you are trying to perform, take that to the personal therapy. Take it there and talk through that, because your peers in your room should not be, you should not feel as if you are being judged by those peers. And if you do, you need to look within yourself. You need to take that, talk about it. But it's not about what your peers think. Your peers are not sitting in that room with counselor. And so many times I can remember in group supervision where people would make comments. And some of them really, really helpful. Others, you just not helpful at all. It's okay. It's fine. They were trying to do their best, but they weren't picking up the energy that I was with the client. And so trust your gut. Trust your gut and open yourself up to learning. But don't feel as if the peers have pointed something out that you should have seen that. We have blind spots. We have blind spots, and that's why we have supervision for a reason. It's to blow out the cobwebs of some blind spots, or things that, transference, counter-transference, anything that we might be picking up, or prejudices, unbiased, unknown prejudices as well that are there with us in the room. So supervision, really, really important. So someone wrote in asking, what if I fancy a client? Okay. Oh, how terrible of you. I'm joking. You're human. You are human. This is the thing. This can happen. It can happen. there is so much that transference that goes on in the counselling room. There is so many energies going around, and we work really, really closely and intimately, emotionally, on an emotional, intimate basis. I don't even know if that's a saying. If it is, great. But we work really emotionally, intimately with clients, and sometimes you can feel so close to that client, and if you are in a space where you are lacking that emotional, intimate connection in your own life, or they remind you of somebody that in an outside world you wish you had a partner like them, or it can happen. It's okay. It's fine. It's not fine to act on it, okay? We don't act on it. Number one, some people do. Some people do. That's a whole unethical situation, and very, very damaging, can be very damaging. That's a whole another topic. But it is normal to feel like this. I would say sit with yourself, figure out what that's about. Take it to personal counselling, take it to supervision. Because when you start to unravel that, it is mind-blowing what comes out and what you realize. And I can almost guarantee you that even if you are attracted to a client and how do I say this? I'm not saying that the attraction would just completely go. You might still have a soft spot for them. But that urge, that human urge, a lot of the time it goes away as soon as you unravel what that is for you. What is that showing you in your life? And then hopefully bring more of that in your outside life. The client then suddenly returns to the client. So again, a lot of things happen in the therapy room that we can feel very scared of, shameful. We're not allowed to feel this. We shouldn't be feeling this. Sometimes we don't like our clients. That's another one, you know. But again, you're human and it's normal. It is all normal. And this is where your personal counselling and your supervision and your own reflective practice really becomes necessary. I can remember when I was doing my training, when it came to what if I don't like a client? You know, sometimes clients, with all the respect in the world to all of them, but when we meet them in a really bad place in their lives, they can say some things with absolute determination that really doesn't sit well with us. You know, they can make some real bold remarks about their beliefs that really, really clash with ours on a personal level. And it can be really hard in that moment to find empathy for them and actually do the work. And what I can remember learning is find one thing that you like about them. Just one thing. Just find, even if it's they can be funny. Find one thing to hook back into with the empathy. Hook that connection back into just one thing. Again, take it to personal counselling, supervision. These are the things that you need to always be packing in your case. If you need an emergency supervision session, your supervisor is not going to think you are incapable of seeing clients because you keep needing extra supervision. Not at all. They're probably going to think you're really on it and you care a lot. And yeah, again, I know I've said it, but our clients bring us our work. They bring us so much learning within ourselves. So yeah, what if I feel sick? What if I choke? What if I need to use the bathroom? What if I need to sneeze? During this video, I sneezed. I had to ask Kerry to edit it out. This is interesting because I was just about to answer that as a qualified therapist, okay, where most of those things have happened to me, if I'm honest. But then I remembered how it felt as a trainee. So as a trainee, I felt like I couldn't have any of those things. I just had to. I can remember for me, I know clients that have worked with me, they know this. Whenever I get sick, a cold or whatever, I think it's because I use my voice so much, or I don't know what it is, but my throat always seems to close. It's mortifying. It is mortifying. And I've choked in front of clients in a coughing fit, about 4 times. It's absolutely mortifying. And what do? You just have to deal with it. You deal with it like a human being. What would you do if you were with somebody that you knew and you needed to go to the toilet, or you didn't feel very well? You'd have to just deal with the situation. So if you didn't feel very well and you felt like you're going to be sick, you'd have to end the session. You'd have to say, I'm really, really sorry to do this. I'm actually not feeling very well. Would it be okay if we ended the session? If you need the loo, this is a big one. Joshua Fletcher actually talks about this in his book. It made me laugh because, oh my goodness, have we all been there, where you down your coffee, or you have 2 coffees in the morning and you think, I'll be fine. And you start that first session, and for the first 10 minutes, you're there with a client, but you're thinking, why didn't I go to the toilet before? Why did I think I was going to be okay? And so perhaps it would be correct to say that most therapists have really good bladder control. But in the case of an emergency, you just have to say, I am so sorry. Could I just have a minute? I'll be straight back. And majority of the time, clients are they're human, they're lovely, they're like, oh my goodness, of course, go. It doesn't happen often, but it will happen at some stage where you have to excuse yourself. Your phone keeps buzzing because you haven't put it on silent, or I know for me, clients will know this as well if any of them are watching. I had to renew my car insurance, and since I've done that, even though I ticked do not call, my phone does not stop ringing. It always seems to be on certain days as well. And because I'm a mum, I do have my phone on vibrate in my drawer underneath books, so it doesn't make too much of a noise, so that I know that if the call keeps ringing and ringing and ringing, that probably there's an emergency at school and I need to stop the session, or I probably would, I don't know, it depends. That's a whole nother question. But I have had so many times where I've had to say, I am so sorry, and gone off and turned that call off because of the insurance company. So again, not ideal at all. It is disruptive, and you deal with that in the room, acknowledge it. But equally, I've had clients feel unwell, or need to use the bathroom, or take an urgent call as well. And you deal with it in a human way. For me, I ask them, do you need to take that call? Is it you can take it if you want, because I think some clients feel as if they're not allowed to, and you want to make them feel comfortable. If they need to go and use the bathroom, and go and use the bathroom, it's okay. I'd rather them leave if they're not feeling well or use the bathroom than sit there and feel absolute torture that we as therapists could be feeling trying to do the same. But again, it's just about, I think the more you become confident in who you are, the more you will feel more human, and you will get these kind of scripts that you do that feels congruent to who you are and professional at the same time. What I do is I always have, let me just show you, I always have my Strepsils next to my chair, and my massive, I don't think you could get any bigger, flask of water. And that's kind of like a preempting of, if I feel the choke even coming close, the Strepsil goes in the mouth. So yeah, okay. So timekeeping. How do we keep time? Oh,